Hey everybody, should probably made this video yesterday or early this week, but wanted to go over real quick what we here in Moo want to do with our territory war, how we want to set up our defenses, how we want to move our through the offensive phase, things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in, and we're gonna take a look at this. We got a pretty good number of people join up this time. I think we had 39 of like 46 or 47 join, so it's not bad. As you can see, like most everything else, it's broken up into zones. You have your front zones here, which your opponent will attack first, and as they clear through zones, they can get back to these back zones and work their way to the rearmost zones. These two zones in the very back are fleet zones. And so it's obvious to anyone who just heard the explanation that these two front zones are where we want our highest power. If you look down here in the bottom right, it'll say 75k plus teams, and they're in the front. That is what we're shooting for. I mean, I understand we don't have a whole lot of those inside a feeder guild like the Academy, but we tried to put as many of those in the front, and then in the 0 hours we'll fill it up with trash. What we try to avoid is what we have right here. Early on, we have some very low teams: 38,000, 39,000, 42,000. I mean, it is true that whenever we get done placing as many of those high power teams that we can in the front, we will fill in the rest of those slots with whatever we have left over. But we really want to save, those slots if possible. I mean, if another person like that, like Cal here, filled up the rest of that zone with equally low tier teams, I mean, we would just be fucked in the bottom zone. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. We'd just be screwed. So we need to keep it to high power teams in the front. Here in the fleet zone, you'll see it says second best fleet. So whatever your second best fleets are, place those there. In the back are trash fleets. These two back zones are where trash fleets are at. Let's try and keep these zones open for late submissions. People who, in the last hours, they need to get their two fleets submitted so they can get their banners. I'll talk about that here in a second. So let's try and fill in these areas first. These back two regular team areas are going to be 50k plus. These two zones, bottom and top, are both going to be 60k teams. And here in the front, it's going to be 75k plus teams. All right. In the last 6 hours is usually whenever we try and open up everything, and you can literally dump any leftover teams you have anywhere. We'll take them just because we need to fill them up. And the reason why is because we get 30 banners for placing a team, where the opponent will win 20 banners for defeating a team. So the math ends up in our favor. Now, they do get a huge amount of extra banners whenever they clear a zone. That's just we don't want to fill in this front zone with garbage, because as soon as they clear that zone, they get a ton of extra banners for clearing the zone. So we really want to avoid filling these front zones up until we have some better teams in there, some relic teams, preferably. And that's that brings me to my next point, the banners. You need to earn for yourself 50 banners in order to get the rewards for this event. So in order to do that, you either need to place two teams, which will give you 60 banners, or you need to place one team and beat one team on offense, which I would never ever risk that if you have the opportunity, because it's a lot harder to it's less it's more of a gamble, because we may go into this team and they may have just a ton of just relics walling us, and we may not get a single hit in. And even if we lose, we still get rewards. Well, if you didn't place those two teams, no rewards. So, to help yourself and help the guild by placing at least two teams on defense so that you can guarantee yourself some rewards no matter the outcome. Um, if you want to, you're always welcome to also look up here in the top right. It'll tell you who we're playing against. You can go to search for guilds, look up that guild right there, check out their power and everything else, kind of get an idea what we're looking at. It's a 24-hour phase cycle for territory war, like everything else. So, in 21 hours, setup phase will be completed. The attack phase will commence. That'll last for 24 hours, and then we're done. So, guys, go ahead and get in there, fill in these zones as much as you can. Try and stick to the zone rules. And remember, in the last about 6 to 9 hours, somewhere in there, we're going to release the restrictions on all zones. And we need to fill every single zone up. Thank you very much, and keep going.